I am back. And as you can tell, my voice is still pretty rough. For the last 3 days I literally had no voice at all. I could hardly get 2 words out without coughing, so I had to take a bit of a break. But now we are talking about stuff again. Today is just gonna be an easy intro or return into the content. I'm just gonna talk about some stuff that I've basically missed out on or that has been changed or announced over the past few days. Basically just a bit of an update in regards to both the upcoming patch and the changes that come with that, as well as the matchmaking changes and how those get changed further, how those get improved, how those have been received and all that kind of stuff. So basically just summarizing what has been happening in the world of Smite. For those of you who are not aware where I was at Gamescom helping out Hi-Res with Ram Royale there a little bit, and now I'm back here and obviously the focus will primarily be on Smite once again. So let us start with the changes that were announced just yesterday on Twitter by Ajax. He announced quite a lot of additional balance changes to the upcoming patch, patch 5.16, because after the feedback that they received and look into some more data, they were thinking about just adding some more changes to balance out certain guards, specifically the top performing ones. The first one here is Naja. Righteous Spirit. This ability no longer provides physical power per stack, decreased from 0.5 per stack to 0 per stack. This is a very strange change to me. I understand that Naja was performing too well, he was very strong, very frequently picked, even though he's by design more of a niche aggression character, so he needed changes. But what's strange to me is that initially his passive was crit, and that was removed because obviously they didn't want to have crit passives anymore, but it was a damage amplification. Now his passive has been shifted entirely. After the changes that had power and movement speed, now it's only gonna have movement speed. And I think that's a bit of a weird choice. Obviously this is gonna improve his jungle speed quite a lot still. He's gonna roam faster, but he's got his ring toss for that anyways. And now he loses the additional early pressure and damage potential that he had through some lucky crits first and then through some extra damage afterwards. I suspect that this is at least partially due to the fact that especially his ultimate scales very well with literally everything, especially power, and can also crit on those hits. So the extra damage that he gets there is very impactful, and I think that is something that Hi-Res didn't really intend for to that degree. So they kind of nerfed it down, but it kind of hits him a little bit too much in my opinion. What I would have rather seen is the movement speed being removed from the ability to make him a little bit less snowball. He is so focused on snowballing now and he can do that very well, but he was always a snowballing character to begin with and I don't think he needed more of that. I would have really preferred some more consistency in what he has, because especially with his ring toss he's already inconsistent enough as is. The next guard being nerfed here is Freya. Northern Lights decreased base damage from 70 to 230 to 50 to 210. Just a straight up nerf to the base damage values here. Very understandable. Freya still a frustrating character at the moment for many, so that one just is fine to me. Samedi also gets additional nerfs. I actually predicted that he wouldn't get any more nerfs at this point. I thought he would be in a good place, but especially his high tier ranked performance apparently has shown that he's doing very well. He's being picked in competitive and he is doing okay there. He's got some on and off games basically, but it's definitely not bad overall. And the nerf that he gets here is 2 his 2 constant spirits, decreased mana cost from 75 to 60, so a bit of a buff, but this ability no longer provides slow immunity, still cleanses slows on hit, and changed movement speed buff from 20% to 40% to 25% at all ranks. That is obviously towards the lower end, and again, this hits especially the combo of using the 2 when you have the Hysteria on a target and then using your ultimate and moving very fast in the ultimate. This hits his mobility quite a fair bit and he doesn't have much mobility to begin with, but then again he has a lot of other tools that will still make him a potent character. I think it will take him down a notch but not really change anything about his place in the meta otherwise. Chernabog also, again, a very high performing hunter here, this one especially performing in competitive. Living Nightmare reduced damage mitigation from 10 to 40% to 10 to 30%, decreased max number of stacks up from slow from 5 to 4. I think Chernabog never needed that much mitigation to begin with, so I'm absolutely fine with that reduction part. With the number of stacks on the slow, I agree that's a good idea, but I think the bigger issue is just how easy it is for the demons to apply a slow on you. It's very, very easy. It's very often the case that you can't really get away from them depending on how you're positioned, and you basically get a free slow on the whole enemy team. And I think that shouldn't be the case. I think those demons should have a slower movement speed towards their target so that you can actually run out of them if you don't get slowed right away. And that's, I think, the bigger frustration point than an additional stack of the slow. That's only the patch note changes though. We also have other changes, and those are regarding matchmaking. And I will read some of those out and give a little bit of my opinion to that. Hey everyone, today we wanted to take a more in-depth look at the stats we are seeing with the changes to our matchmaking and the introduction of the timed queue system. For most survey data we released earlier here, players have definitely noticed an improvement, which is reflected in our internal metrics for most queues. Today we're going to look at normal arena, ranked conquest and ranked joust, which do a great job of summarizing all these stats for all the queues and regions. Normal arena. Wait times have increased by 31%, an average of 3.4 minutes. Matchmaking spread has decreased by 34% to an average of 158.75, so roughly 2.5 divisions. Note, Smite's MMR ranges from approximately 0 to 300 for our players. The difference between a Gold Division 5 player and a Gold Division 1 player is roughly 325. So what we see here for sure is very limited spread in the divisions, and that is how it should be. That comes with the cost of spending more time in queue, obviously. I personally don't mind that much. We know how much time we have in a queue, we know when the queue will pop, and I'm happy with that if that means the matchmaking is much better. There are also some issues with that, but we'll get into that, and there's some improvements along with it. The next part is basically just summarizing how Arena works and how the changes impact it, saying a 34% decrease means matches on average are much more fair and balanced, creating more engaging experiences. The stats we are seeing in normal arena are very similar to stats we are seeing for normal clash, joust and conquest. An increase in overall wait time, but much better MMR spread across the board. Ranked conquest. Wait times have increased by 103.44% to an average of 12.8 minutes. MMR spread has decreased by 44.7% to an average of 94.25, 1.5 divisions. Ranked Conquest has seen a significant boost to its matchmaking quality through a 44.7 reduction in MMR disparity between opponents. Through both the timed queue being able to focus on placing the highest level of player together each time and the queue moving to solo only, the quality of each match has significantly improved. What is not improved are the queue times. While we expect the times to go up, which helps matchmaking, Ranked Conquest has seen a huge jump. Some of the reason is due to unintended issues causing high-level players to go into the priority queue pool and repeatedly being thrown there rather than into a match. Outside of bug fixes, we are also looking at system-level changes to help punishing leavers much more harshly to discourage people leaving a match once it has been made, resulting in players being thrown back into the queue. We're hoping to significantly help these queue times while maintaining an increased level of matchmaking. So I absolutely agree that a big issue is obviously the levers, and I think another step that should be taken here is if people actually get kicked out from a levers lobby, they should also get the priority queue. And I don't think that's happening so far, at least not from what it looks like. If you have a 10-minute queue and somebody jumps out, then obviously that's going to have a massive impact because the next queue is going to be equally long, and that really pushes up the queue times a lot. We see that overall here the queue time has increased a lot more, with the spread being not as much lower as it is the case in Arena. In Arena it's pretty much lower spread for a little bit more queue time, but it's more worth it basically. And I guess what might be an option here is to lower ranked queue times a little bit as well and see how much worse that makes the MMR spread with the solo queue being in place anyways. Afterwards, Ponpon takes a look at the queues that don't work out that well, being Ranked Joust, Ranked Duel and Siege, where both wait time and MMR spread have actually increased, basically meaning it's probably less people playing it, leading to a bigger spread because of the wait times, and therefore they're just not working out. The problem being here that those game modes simply don't have enough of a player pool, leading to bad matchmaking because a match is forced to be made. Harris is considering some solutions that may involve casual joust, but I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. Harris also saw a drop in surrenders, early surrenders, being a lot less common, which were previously happening a lot more because of snowballing, because of unfair matches basically. They have roughly a 60% reduction of early surrenders, and in casual conquest even a 67% reduction in early surrenders, and I personally haven't seen many early surrenders either. And there are also some bug fixes here that Hi-Rez addressed. The first one was a hard wall between level 30 players and below level 30 players not being respected by the system as it should have been, so that should be fixed. Then the matchmaker has new level bands now. That means the likelihood of certain players within certain level ranges are more likely to get matched against each other. And now those level bands will be 1 to 10, 11 to 29, 30 to 49, and 50 plus. Also, the system will now favor people more that have been in queue longer than those that just jump in last second. Also, there was an issue with parties of 4 or 5 man queuing, which caused odd matchmaking. I've actually experienced this a lot and actually reported on this, so I am not surprised that this was actually found to be some sort of issue, and I'm very happy this one's fixed. It's still being monitored, so it's not completely fixed yet, but it's at least being worked on. There was also an issue where time queues caused many instances to pop simultaneously, causing instability. There are now new rules to that to basically decrease the server load, and that was basically the thing that caused games to be very laggy when they were just created, and the lobby to be very laggy as well. And then there were some server improvements as well. So a lot of changes here to the matchmaker, mostly small adjustments, but they will definitely help balance the system out a little bit more. I expect some more changes to the times for the queues in later stages as well. We'll see about that. I think Hi-Rez probably needs to collect more data for that first. But overall, I'm happy with what's been done so far. I'm now gonna rest my voice because it's been a little bit strained from talking that long. I thank you guys very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit the sub button and maybe the bell. It really helps me out. Other than that, see you for the next one tomorrow. And I will probably try and make some more, I would call it random content for now, within the next days. We'll see when that starts out. Some things that I always wanted to talk about that aren't really Smite related or anything, but just other videos. You'll see. Until then, DukeSloth out.